Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Develop podcast series. This is Danielle Reynolds, and I am so excited to be back with you all to develop, connect, and inspire together. Today, we are diving into mentorship and how it is so important to your growth and development. I'm thinking people may have different views on what it really entails from both sides, so this was a topic we certainly wanted to cover on our podcast. I've asked Kristen Lollar, our firm's Chief Marketing Officer, to come back and discuss this topic with us. So grab your pens and notepads and let's get ready to learn from one of the best and a true mentor to me. Kristen, welcome.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm so excited to talk about this subject with you guys.
Well, I am so excited to have you back on the podcast, and there is no one better to go over this topic than you. So let's dive right in. I'm curious what your definition of mentorship is, as well as what it means to be both a mentor and a mentee.
Well, the short answers are, in my opinion, the mentor is a teacher, the mentee is a student. However, you can be both at any age or stage in your career.
Love that. Straight and direct and to the point. So you've been very involved on the mentorship side, hence why you are here with us today. So tell us about your experiences, both internally and externally, and how long you've been mentoring.
Sure. So formally, I've been involved in some type of mentorship since college. I started volunteering with students at my church through a small group and mentor programs. And then career-wise, internally at Whitley, Penn, I started a formal marketing program in 2015. Part of that was I was a one-man show and I needed some help and I was not approved to hire any full-time employees. So I knew that I needed help and college students needed credit. So I started a program to where we were recruiting college students to come and work through our internship program here. So informally in the firm, I've also just mentored other people since I joined in 2012. And externally, I started mentoring through the Dallas-Fort Worth chapter of the American Marketing Association in 2013. So in reality, I have unofficially mentored people for many years. Think about your circle of influence, and you are also more than likely mentoring others. It may be friends, neighbors, colleagues, and you may not even know that you're doing it.
Yeah, so very proactive with how you kind of got involved in mentorship and really have never stopped ever since.
That's right.
Love that. So were you ever a mentee in the process? And, maybe you certainly still have mentors now because there's really such value no matter what stage of your career that you're in to have mentors.
For sure. I mean, many times I've been a mentee and I'm still learning from others on a daily basis. I've had several mentors through my career, both male and female, and you're never too experienced to have a mentor. And I think that's just something if we consistently try to learn and have a lifestyle of learning, you're going to learn from others, whether it's through a formal program or an informal program. Yeah,
love that. And probably whatever, title you have and industry you're in, it all kind of, you can get so much value from people no matter where they work. What are some characteristics that make someone a really good fit to be either a mentor or mentee?
For the mentee, I think being open to learning, being curious, asking questions, and most importantly, being proactive and following up with those that serve as mentors. Most mentors, especially in a professional setting, they're busy. They're just busy people. And so I put the responsibility back on the mentee to be proactive and come with your agenda. Let's talk through the things that you want to discuss. For the mentor, I think it's a good idea to have a good intuition, so that if you're having to help the mentor and guide the mentee and guide them along the way, you have a good understanding of the unspoken for what's really going on. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are a little hesitant to share until you build that rapport, but being able to kind of read your mentee is important. It's important to remain dedicated to the commitment you've made as being a mentor. Make sure you make time to spend with that mentee. Give them opportunities or challenges. So if it's something that they need help with, job interview skills, set up mock interviews. Help introduce them to other people within your industry or in the corporate environment that might help them develop in their career.
Yeah. So many different directions I'm sure they can go. I'm sure every mentor-mentee relationship you've had has probably looked so differently too along the way. So there's so much value to both sides. Let's first start with being the mentee or the person seeking mentorship. How do you know really if you're ready to begin a relationship with a mentor?
Well, in my opinion, you're always ready to be mentored. You should look for others who can teach you or advise you on ways to improve and challenge yourself. And it goes back to being proactive. Don't wait for a mentor to reach out to you. Reach out to them. Tell them your interests. Tell them where you're hoping to gain some guidance and direction. And when you go to those meetings with your mentor, come prepared. Ask your questions. Set out the goals you want to discuss, and be ready to help lead that conversation.
Yeah. So love that. I feel like I heard, don't be afraid to raise your hand. If you want to be proactive about it, people are there to help you and help guide you, but you kind of have to take that first step and make it one of your priorities. So let's talk about identifying a good mentor. Should you be looking for someone with certain skills, knowledge, or even goals that you personally value or maybe hope to achieve one day?
Yes, but I don't think that's the end all be all. Most importantly, find somebody you like, someone you respect, and someone who can provide guidance and insight. But also make sure it's somebody who's open to being a mentor. They may have other time commitments or responsibilities that may not provide them the opportunity to fully dive into a mentor program. So if you get any kind of hesitancy or pushback from a possible mentor, don't take it personal. Just move on and find someone else. Remember, people only have so much energy to share with others before their tanks are empty.
Yeah, I think that kind of, leads to a really good point about it is a big commitment, both on the mentee side and really the mentor side. So maybe what are the best ways to make that ask of a mentor? It's a huge time commitment. Are there ways you found that make it easier, or how you kind of approach that topic with someone you really admire?
Well, I'd recommend just reaching out to them. Tell them why you're interested in seeking them as a mentor. If you've done your research, then you know the characteristics that they have and the reasons you think that they might be a good mentor for you. Explain that to them, because everyone likes to hear something positive about themselves. And I think being upfront and straight to the point is always better than beating around the bush. Just tell them straight up, I am interested in learning from you. You have a lot to offer. Would you be open to being a mentor for me? And if they don't have that capacity, ask them if they could recommend somebody else.
Yeah, love that. Being direct can really go a long way. So the mentee, staying on this, has a big role to play, and different roles throughout the process and during the course of the relationship, really from, beginning, driving the relationship, to probably planning the meetings and taking full advantage of what the opportunity really is. Can you touch on some of those roles that are important for the mentee?
Sure. The mentee plays a huge role in the relationship. I would just advise any mentees be respectful of the mentor's time. Be proactive like we've talked about in scheduling those meetings. Be prepared when you go to the meetings. So have your list of goals, questions, things you want to discuss ready for each meeting. You set the agenda. Ultimately, you'll get more out of that relationship if you come prepared and you help drive the meeting. If you come with the expectations laid out through an agenda, that helps the mentor know how to tailor the response and guide you appropriately. Yeah,
I love overtaking that, and really the responsibility is on whether it's the young professional, or I love how the responsibility is on the mentee to drive that. I think it's a great learning experience. Usually your mentor is probably someone that's been through the game a little bit longer, so has that experience. So what a great learning opportunity to kind of learn how to take control of those meetings and really drive that relationship.
For sure.
Would you say you should have both mentors, both internally at your own company and externally, maybe in a different industry, or someone that could bring a different point of view, or does one outweigh the other?
I definitely think you should have internal and external, if you're depending on your company and the setup, but I don't think one necessarily outweighs the other. They both bring different perspectives. Somebody internally in your company knows the makeup of the organization, the roadblocks that may be in place, and can help guide and navigate you through those things. But somebody externally may be better to help you look at a more agnostic view of the situation in general, whether it's a career path, ways for you to grow and expand. They would be able to bring that broad view.
Yes, so definitely both benefits to both sides.
So one thing I would add there, just regardless of if it's internal or external, it's so important for you to find somebody you trust, and somebody who will very boldly speak truth to you. Sometimes that's a little tough love, but that's what we need to move forward.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And that's someone you should be looking for to give you that, feedback that's going to feed you forward. Someone that's not afraid to tell you if there's areas that you need to work on. But I think that ultimately is the benefit that you're having from having a mentor.
Yes.
So how often do you think, let's say I'm the mentee, planning my meetings, how often should a mentee and mentor be meeting realistically to make sure the relationship is providing both sides value and also being respectful of time and their commitments?
I think at least monthly. And sometimes more frequently depending on the circumstances. So for example, if you're going through job interviews and you need to bounce some of the ideas and pro-con different scenarios with your mentor, that may be more of a weekly scheduled meeting. If you're going through compensation discussions or review time in your organization, that may be something you want to talk about more in depth and more frequently, preparing for those conversations or career changes, things like that. So I think it depends on the situation, but I think at a minimum you need a monthly touch point, face to face or over video with your mentor to really connect with them, and then have those benchmarks and goals that you can work through before your next meeting.
Yeah, I love that. And have you found yourself doing a lot more maybe virtually or over Teams or Zoom nowadays? Does that make a difference at all?
I have found myself doing a lot more via video. No, I really love the face-to-face time. Nothing beats that. That connection is so much stronger when you can sit across the table and really talk to somebody. But I think we are so lucky that technology has provided us video. So I have done a lot of Teams meetings or Zoom meetings, but when I can, I still really like to do them in person.
Yeah, I'm with you. Nothing beats that face-to-face time. So kind of touching on the development plan, right, could be a huge resource provided to the mentee from their mentor. Is it common to develop a mentoring action type plan as you were working with your mentor to set up those goals, activities, and time frame? Is that something you personally do when you are mentoring someone?
For some, but not all. It's helpful, but again, it's not required. And it depends on the structure of the relationship. If it is somebody in your internal organization and they're helping you work towards goals and achievements for elevation within your organization, you may need that defined plan. If it's somebody that's more of a mentor that's external, it may not be as important to have that structured plan. I think it's always helpful for you as the mentee to have your goals, put those down. Maybe you set your own plan and then run through it with your mentor. I don't think you should look to them to provide that for you, though.
Yeah, there's a guide. So, touching on the mentee value side a bit and what they bring, do you believe the mentee has value to bring in the relationship as well? People may think when they have a mentor that they aren't providing value to them, since usually the person is probably of a higher position. So would love to know your thoughts on that.
Well, absolutely. I learn as much from those that I mentor as they probably learn from me. I like to keep an open mindset going into every relationship. What can I teach them and what can I learn from them? And even, as far as our intern program for the marketing department at Whitley, Penn, every intern that comes through our program, I challenge them, bring me one new idea or something for us to consider during your internship. And we've implemented a number of those into what we do in our firm today. So having that fresh set of eyes is always great, a new perspective that comes in. We kind of get stuck in a rut. So I love to learn from other people. And each mentee just brings a different set of needs, which helps me keep my skills sharp as I have to adjust my messaging and guidance for that particular person and what they're going through.
Yeah, I love that. A little reverse mentorship type thing. So
Sure.
A lot of value on both sides. Do you think any topics are off the table for a mentee-mentor relationship?
Well, not for me. There may be for some, but you have to consider how well you know that person, and then what you want to consider asking them. Again, it goes back to reading people, having that intuition. If you're having a discussion with somebody, you can see they're kind of hesitant to share, then maybe you don't dive in and ask questions. But for me, I'm pretty much an open book. I've learned so much through different trials and errors that it helps mentees feel closer by understanding I've gone through things too. I've made mistakes. And I've had to learn from those, and I failed, but like we've talked about before, fail forward, learn from that, pick up and move on. So I'm pretty open to sharing, but not all mentors may be that way.
Yeah. And I guess, as you're trying to find a mentor or someone, look at, do you have a relationship with this someone first before you really want to kind of dive in and have them really support you moving forward? That could certainly help in the process.
For me, yes. I prefer to have an established relationship with that person, or at least know them enough to have open conversations. I think I am open to them challenging me more if they kind of know me and I know them.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on the person as well.
Love that. So what are some of the biggest challenges you believe a mentee would face? And maybe if there are any, tips on how to overcome these?
Well, I think some mentees are hesitant to be proactive. What we've talked about, setting that agenda, asking for advice, listing out goals, meeting those benchmarks. I think just ask directly for the information you're wanting to obtain. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
If you're looking for somebody to breathe into you, be willing to share and be open with them. And I think, honestly, just realizing that they are humans too. So even though they may be more advanced in their career, they've had plenty of failures that have brought them to where they are today. So we don't all have it together every day, all day. We're all learning as we go.
Sure. Yeah, and we're going to keep failing.
We will.
So having somewhere to that you have a relationship with, that you can talk about those failures, I think there's so many benefits to that. So moving into the role of a mentor, which I think is important to touch on, since there are equally almost as many responsibilities on their end, maybe some more at different times. So what would you say the primary role of a mentor is, and what are some of the characteristics that make a good mentor?
So the primary role of the mentor is to provide guidance for the mentee. However, it's not the mentor's role to do the work for the mentee. So as a mentor, you need to remain objective. You need to challenge the mentee to think outside the box and push them towards excellence. And then, again, always be open to learning from the mentee.
Yeah, something to certainly highlight in your notes, right?
Yes.
They are not there to actually do the work. They're really kind of in the driver's seat helping guide you. Or sorry, in the passenger seat,
yeah.
guiding you along the way. Expectations are important, with anything in life. I think we can all agree on that. So who sets these expectations in regard to responsibilities of either the mentor or mentee?
I think it depends, but if it's an internal mentor who's helping you in your career path, they may have specific benchmarks put in place for you to meet along the way. But if it's an external relationship, then I really think it's best if the mentee comes to the table with their expectations so that the mentor knows how to respond and how to guide you along the way.
Yeah. I personally think there's a difference between coaching and mentorship, which coaching would be a whole nother topic for us to dive into. But would you agree with that? And what are some of the standout differences when deciding really personally what you are looking for, right? Are you looking for a mentor, or are you looking for an actual coach for maybe a set amount of time?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think they're very different. For the most part, I like to view coaching as task-oriented and mentoring more as relationship-oriented. So you really need both along the way. Yeah. But evaluate your needs and then try to seek out the appropriate person. If it's, you're going to have to look at each scenario differently and decide. And two, it could be the connection you've made with the mentor. Are you wanting them to really play more of that coach role and guide you through specific tasks? Or are you looking for more of that relationship, the expansion, the career growth?
Yeah, it's certainly probably, at different stages of your career are probably what's going to guide you more in one or either one of those directions. So lots and lots of long-term impacts of mentoring. Do you have any personal examples to share with us on a great mentor you had that brought you career-changing benefits?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there have been so many people that have made impacts in my life, but a great mentor of mine early in my career taught me the importance of professionalism. And I remember her talking to me specifically about attire. And she said, "You look so cute and super trendy, but I want you to remember you will only be treated at the level of professionalism in which you present yourself." And that really stuck out to me because I was a young 20-something working in an international law firm. And, if I'm trying to work with people that are my parents' age or older and I want them to respect me as a professional, then I need to present myself as such. And so that's something, my team will tell you, I tell them constantly when we do our trainings, it's so important for us to remember the importance of professionalism. But I also had a boss that taught me, if you want to grow in your career and you're still doing the same job in 3 to 5 years, then I have failed to lead you. And so as a supervisor, I've really taken that very seriously. I mean, there are some people that just want a paycheck, and there's some people who want to grow in their career. And so you invest in them differently. Mm-hmm. But the ones who want to grow in their career, you need to push them out there. You need to give them that opportunity to spread their wings and grow, and not take it personal when they do fly the nest and they go on to lead their own organizations. Sure. So I think that's important as well. And then lastly, my grandfather taught me a great life lesson from the time I was a little girl. He said, you will always be remembered by your character. You determine the kind of legacy you leave behind. And for me, I really want to be remembered as someone who made an impact on others and sought ways to be helpful. So it doesn't have to be anything that's earth-shattering. It's just those little things that add up. And I like to find ways to impact others.
Yeah. And I think that's probably been fun, as you've grown in your career, now chief marketing officer at the firm, like your role kind of transitions where you really get to start pouring into others now and really watch them
Sure.
grow and develop. And I'm sure that's so exciting to get to be on that side now. Yeah. And I love the dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I love we certainly tell our interns this, but you can plan your day as well in advance as you want, but you also don't know what opportunities could come about that day or what you can get pulled into. So I love, dressing for success, and professionalism is so important. So overall, a ton of rewards that come from mentorship, both from, I think we've dived into being a mentor and benefits from being a mentee. What are some of the biggest rewards you have personally experienced? Anything new you learned about yourself in the process while being either a mentor or mentee?
For sure. I mean, I've had the privilege of watching so many people that I've mentored go on to do great things. It's so inspiring to see them grow and develop, and then they take on the role of mentoring others. And I find such pride in that. I'm so happy for them. And you just never know the impact that you've made on someone, and vice versa. It's really important to keep your network strong, though, and those that you've mentored, as they continue to grow and develop, they will be the next CEOs of companies and leading organizations. And I mean, that's how I found my job here at Whitley Penn. I had mentored a young woman who was here previous to my joining, and she introduced me to the firms. And that had been like a 7-year break in the time that we had worked together. Yeah. So you just never know when it's going to come full circle.
For sure. And that's certainly great advice. And I love that. All about relationship building and staying connected. Just lastly, do you have any books, podcasts, TV shows, resources you can leave our audience with that have provided you value? Doesn't necessarily have to be on mentorship unless you have some, but what is currently bringing you the most value?
Well, I follow a couple of different things on LinkedIn, Community of 7 and Leadership First. I think they have great little snippets of the day just to remind you just the importance of leading others, the impact you're making on others, and we're all impacting someone. So I think they have great little tidbits there. There's a podcast by Christine Kane called Equip and Empower, and I really love that one. She's got a lot of great insight. Anything Simon Sinek puts out, I just think is great. He has lots of good tidbits as well. And I just read a book that I thought was really fantastic called A Peacock in the Land of Penguins. It's by B.J. Gallagher and Warren Schmidt. It's about creativity and courage and diversity and discovery. And I think it's really, you can look at it from a million viewpoints, whether strictly for DEI initiatives or just as you may be that peacock in your organization in a sea of penguins. Mm-hmm. And then how do you embrace being different and vibrant and exciting, and how do you share that with others? So we're talking about mentoring and impacting others. It's a great
love that
tool.
Gotta add that to the reading list.
Yeah, and I just think if you adapt a lifestyle of learning, you can always grow and develop.
Yeah, and I love that. And never stop reading and learning and growing, no matter what stage of your career you're in, for sure. Kristen, thanks again for joining me today. I love this conversation and think what you do in regards to this specific topic, I know you do a lot of other things, but what you do in regards to mentorship is so inspiring. I know personally, you have helped me tremendously serving as a mentor to me, and I look up to you in so many ways. So thank you for not only investing in me, but for listening, supporting me, and really investing in my growth. It's been so valuable to me to have your relationship.
Wow, thank you. It's been fun to watch you grow and develop.
And I love that. So we're excited to bring you this resource. So, and reach out to your firm resources too. You know, whether you're internally or externally, there's resources in the firm that want to help you with these things if you don't know where to get started. So if you're looking for a mentor, I certainly encourage you guys to reach out to those departments that can help you with that.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining us.